a really, really disappointing loss. And the disappointment of this loss might not be visited upon the Indianapolis Colts until January, because this is going to matter. You're 8-3 now, not 9-2. And 9-2 was sitting right there in front of you. Had this thing 20-9 in the fourth quarter, and you let them back in it. You're either in it to win it or you're not. You're either there to play to win. Holding on is not an option. You're not going to hold on. Hey, we're playing for overtime, my ass. You play to win. That's why you go for that 4th and 3. I understand why Steichen didn't, because you want that game to be in the hands of your players, right? You don't want to overthink things and put your team in a negative position just because you thought, hey, 4th and 3, we're a really good offense. Daniel Jones is going to be able to check to whatever is going to work, and we're going to be able to negotiate that and have that end positively. I get it. The second half did not go the Colts' way from an offensive perspective. Steve Spagnuolo, exceptional work in the second half, and Shane Steichen, not. Why do you take the ball in the overtime? I asked Steichen that question, and I'll tell you what he told me. It's because of the third possession. All right, unacceptable. I'm with you. Thank you for the donation. You want the ball first because you want the ball third. So you believe in your offense and their ability to push the ball down the field and get a score. And then if the opposition, if they tie it, you get the ball back, and then all you got to do is kick a field goal and you win that game. It gives you the first opportunity to have a score to win opportunity, assuming that the first possession goes well, which it did not. Look, as we talk about Daniel Jones, we're going to find out. This was week 11. We're going to find out whether Daniel Jones is capable of being a winning quarterback in the postseason, and that's what this is all about. Number one, you've got to get to the top of the AFC South and go to the playoffs. Then you find out how good you are when you get to that level. Well, today, playing against a playoff team, a good playoff team, despite that 5-5 record, you know what? You found out where you're at. Caleb Boggs says Shane's second half play calling and decision to take the ball first cost us the game. Do you think you were going to win if you took the ball second? What if you do flip it? You flip it and what happens? Was that offense going to move the ball far enough to be able to, succeed? Probably not. Not given what they did. This is not on DJ. This is all on Steichen. Whoa. That's way... Look, here's what Daniel Jones did in the first half, all right? 10 of 12 for 94 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Jones, I don't believe he was sacked, and I know he didn't turn it over. So those two things, those are pretty important, right? But so he was 19 of 31, which means in the second half, he was 9 of 19 for 87 yards, right? 87 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. So that offense went nowhere fast. And Steve Spagnuolo, you want to know a reason why the Chiefs are really damn good? Patrick Mahomes is certainly one of those reasons. Steve Spagnuolo is a huge difference maker for the Kansas City Chiefs in the way he orchestrates that defense. That defense was really good against what had been a really good offense, minus one game. And that one game, kind of minus the game against the Rams and the game against the Steelers. What the Colts can't do is score 20 and expect to win, which is a problem, and which I thought was a problem today. Because what the Colts needed, they needed 27 or more points. You knew going into the game, because of the way Lou Anarumo's defense is, and we talked about it all week, they allow the Chiefs to score between 23 and 27 points. Every single time. The last 5 times the Bengals played against the Chiefs, that's what it was. They score between, I think it's 23 and 26 points. So you know where you got to get, and you got to get there. And those field goals, like they got 20, right? 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. Those field goals, if they're touchdowns, they win. Bad throw to Pierce, just off his fingertips. Couple of good throws. I mean, Daniel Jones wasn't by himself the reason that they lost, but he was a reason. Don't get that twisted. He had something to do with it. You got a quarterback there. He had something to do with the losing, for God's sake. Full Metal to 2008. It's almost like the NFL scripts this stuff every close game. I just hope they can beat Texans next week. They got to beat the Texans next week. That's this game. If you get the win, it kind of gave you some grace to lose a game you ought to win. Can't lose next week. Colts defense, too much for the Colts offense. Totally agree. You've got to find a way to not be taken away the thing that they're trying to take away. Toby says on Steichen for abandoning run, 16 carries, what the hell? Well, what are you going to do? Like Jonathan Taylor was going nowhere other than that one run. Other than that was it. So what would you like him to call? This is on Steichen. He was absolutely terrible. I disagree. I don't believe it is on Steichen. I don't think he was terrible. I think execution was a problem. You got that first, unless you want to blame him for the penalties and say this team isn't fundamentally sound enough because of leadership. But over the course of the game, like first half, 8 penalties, 63 yards. Can't have that. 2 roughing the passer penalties. Can't have that. You had what, a hold? You had Braden Smith again lining up too far off the line of scrimmage. You can't have that. Penalties today for the Colts. 11 penalties, 83 yards. So the second half, they calmed down a little bit. But you got to get that crap under control. You got to figure that out. That the defensive face mask call on, who's that? That was on Sauce, right? Can't have that. You can't give away 15 yards on multiple occasions through just a lack of discipline and think you're going to survive on the road against a team that plays in the Super Bowl like it's their birthright to play in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that Steichen was great, but you're not saying this is Steichen and everybody else is absolved of any guilt. There were missed tackles. There were dropped passes. There were bad throws. There was what should have been a pick by Daniel Jones. Thank God it wasn't. Bam says, I'm sorry, but you force feed him. You have an MVP to rely, and you rely on Jones. Then you come out and go 3 and out twice, run the damn ball. If they keep putting 8 in the box, I don't know where you go. I know that the Colts, they thought that they were going to be able to run to the outside. They were that one play. That one run by Taylor, that was money. Other than that, you got to have, and Tony Romo was kind of right, even though the Colts, what they have, 21 snaps in the first half, and he said all the cool stuff's gone. You know, they had the pass to Ogletree in the end zone. They had some other stuff, but you had, I don't understand throwing the ball to Josh Downs, I got to tell you the truth. If I were Daniel Jones, I'm not throwing to Josh Downs. I'm not looking at 2 ever. I'm going 84, 11, 14, 28. And then, like, if all of those guys are, covered exceptionally well, then I'm thrown to 2. But I wouldn't have thrown to 2 today, given the results of his routes. I wouldn't have thrown to him at all. Let's go over some of the statistics. Patrick Mahomes, man. You know what? Mahomes is just not a guy who's going to let them lose a must-win game. And this is a must-win game. If they dropped to 5-6, they had no chance whatsoever to win the division, and they really don't have one now with the Broncos being 9-2. But this is a must-win game or they're not going to the playoffs. And they played like it today. It's too bad the scheduling worked the way it did, but that's the way scheduling worked, right? You've got to, you got to put a team down when you got the chance, right? 8 in the box and DJ couldn't make throws. That's a problem. They didn't get to him, which is a good thing. 10-7 gets us in. They're going to be 11-6 at worst. Refs were bad. Refs were awful on both sides. I give you that. I mean, there were some terrible calls that benefited the Colts. There were terrible calls that benefited the Chiefs. No question. Tough loss. Hopefully we can turn it around against the Texans. Yes, I'm just thinking that Steichen's offensive play calling is starting to look like Bradley's defense, stagnant, boring, predictable. I think the execution was bad. Andrew LeBeau says, time management, use the best running back and burn some clock, even for minimal gain. The 3 points given up at the end of the first half, critical, and that's true. Absolutely. I'm not happy with Downs either, tell you the truth. Trenton Jen, game over, yep. And showed we're pretenders today, should have closed this game out. To be for real, I totally agree with that. But that means today they were pretenders instead of contenders. All right, today they were. That doesn't carry on to next week or the week after or the week after that. That's a today issue. What you're going to be as a team is going to be different once you get to January, assuming you get to mid-January, right? What happened to the O-line? They didn't give up a sack. Like, 5 can't block 7. Even the best 5 aren't going to be able to block 7 guys. King Jeffrey says, Jags and Texans schedule much better than Colts. Colts have toughest schedule in the NFL. I'm concerned, and you should be. Going into this game, the point differential for teams the Colts would play in the upcoming 7 games, including this one, because the Chiefs were at plus 73, plus 333. You're not playing back markers. You're not playing the Titans and the Browns and the Giants and the Jets over the course of these last 7 weeks, now these last 6 weeks. They're playing good teams, and you're going to have to play really good football in order to win 3 of those games, and you're going to have to win 3 of those games to make the playoffs as the AFC South champions. I don't like where the Colts are at. I don't like it at all. And all the people who've been talking about, hey, and there's no shade to Daniel Jones, but you don't extend him today. You extend him based upon a complete body of work. And that complete body of work took a nick today. All right? The Daniel Jones contract is starting to look pretty cheap. Well, it's $14 million, and that's true, but the next one likely won't be. So, we got to... Time for that conversation is going to come, right? Trent, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Is he out for the season or just on IR? Who are you talking about? If you are talking about DeForest Buckner, he's not out for the season. He will be back. Oh, we need D-Buck back bad. And that is, that's true. But he's going to be back. They are very optimistic about his ability to come back. Philip says, I actually thought with Ward, Sauce, Moore, Bynum, and Cross, we'd have a pretty elite secondary. What are we supposed to make of that performance? There were moments when they were really, really good, and there were... If you've got a really, really good secondary and you still can't get to the quarterback often enough, you got a real problem. And I'll tell you where the problem is. The problem is Kwity Paye. That's a problem. Kwity Paye holds the edge like that's his job. His job is to knock the quarterback on his ass. And if he can't do that, find somebody who can. Because you can't have that. And in this game, the Colts had a touchdown kind of gift wrapped for him with that Latu interception. Larry Hansen, 3 3-and-outs in the fourth, produce anything and we win. That I think that the game turned on a whole bunch of things. But the game, especially, I think late, that decision, and it could have been, you go for it on that 4-and-3 or 4th-and-3 and you don't get it, you got a problem because you took away the opportunity for that defense to win you the game. However, not going for it and punting it, you lost. So it's easy to reverse engineer this thing, right? and say that Steichen screwed up by not going for it. Maybe if he had gone for it and they don't get it, all of a sudden what you got, right? They got a short field. They're going to be able to kick the game-tying field goal. The thing that happened that was most regrettable is they got the ball. They were able to kick the game-tying field goal and leave no time left on the clock. If you could have had 2 minutes left, we would have found something out about Daniel Jones. Pay has to go for sure. Pay is practically useless. I'm so sick of waiting for this dude to become something. He had that one game with 2 sacks. No pass rush. Not a lot of pass rush, although they did get Mahomes some coverage sacks. There were some of those. I hate it when people believe momentum is a something. Something. Colts had to punt in overtime. Yeah, I don't think they're... Not that one. I'm talking about in the fourth quarter. Absolutely, they had to punt. You can't give the Chiefs the ball nearly in field goal range. No, that's absolutely true. That one, that was a no-brainer. That's not the one I'm talking about, if that makes any sense. Jesse says, Latu's playing good. It's good to see some positives in this game, minus his penalty. And we'll do the good, the bad, and the ugly tomorrow morning. And there will be good. The remaining teams Colts play have quarterbacks not named Mahomes. Secondary will get better. But we need DeForest Buckner. Yes, Steichen gives up or calls better plays. He'll be fine. Steichen is a really, really smart coach. I got no problem with Shane Steichen at all. I'm keeping him forever. Shane Steichen, whatever happens this season, the rest of it, it's not a Shane Steichen problem. I promise you that. I don't think it's a Lou Anarumo problem either. Like, you got 22 players out there, and they got to go do their jobs every single snap. And when they don't do their jobs as well as their counterparts, you're going to get your ass beat. And that's football. Y'all overreactionaries are wearing on my nerves. Fire Ballard. Steichen sucks. Y'all are clueless. Now, wait a minute. I don't think that Ballard ought to be fired, and I don't think that Steichen sucks. But people a little bit raw-assed after a game like that, I don't blame people for being a little bit raw-assed. That's fine. Steichen has to call plays to give the team a chance. He did not. Sure he did. Here's the thing with that. We don't know what the hell he called. We have no idea what he called. He sees things. Jones sees things. He checks to this, checks to that. Yeah, we don't know exactly what happened. We assume that Steichen made a call, had a call to check to if you see this kind of front or you see this level of coverage. Colts played not to win. I don't believe that either. They just didn't get that play they had to get. They had to get a play, and they didn't get it. And 4th and 3 might have given them an opportunity in the fourth. They didn't take that opportunity. I think you got to, at some point, like if you're playing cards, if you're playing poker, you're playing Hold'em, there's a moment in that game at that table where you gotta play the game. You know what I mean? You got to go all in behind cards at some point. You're going to get a bad beat once in a while, but you got to go all in. And Steichen is normally very, very willing to do that. I think that Spags got in Steichen's head just a little bit. Sure he did. We were up 20-9. I don't know what that's in reference to, but I agree. He did take the ball first in overtime, which is completely stupid. It's not completely stupid, and I'll tell you why. I explained this in the beginning. I asked Steichen about taking the ball first, as they tried to do when they were in Berlin, but then the referees got their heads out of their asses and decided they knew that the Atlanta Falcons needed to call that coin toss. And so they did, and the Colts wound up getting it second, and it wound up working out great, right? They take the ball first so that they get the ball third. If you're good enough to score on that first possession, you're going to be good enough that no matter what happens defensively, like if you score a touchdown, they get the ball, they score a touchdown, now it's your football with a chance to end the thing. You're the team that gets the ball, all right? Last. And that's what you want. Lifetime Success says, I felt we got too concerned toward the end of the game. Hopefully they adjust to next week because the defense we're playing, defense is better. Like that Texans defense, it goes beyond no slouch. They're really good. They're better than the Chiefs defense, and it's not close. Hey, Ken's Colts fan from Virginia, what do you suggest the problem was today? I think they just didn't make the plays they needed to make. I think Latu made a play. I think Franklin made a play. Go figure. He got that strip. Chiefs hadn't lost a fumble in like forever. But you needed Downs to make a catch. You needed Pittman to make a catch. And I'm not going to dog out Pittman. I thought that Jones was a little indecisive. It just, and defensively, like you just didn't get pressure on Mahomes in the measure you needed to. And that manifested itself. How many sacks did the boys get? Let's see. Fourth down efficiency, Chiefs were 2 of 2. And the Colts didn't go for it once on fourth down. Colts had 10 first downs total. Chiefs had 33. Time of possession, 42-35 for the Chiefs. 25-28 for the Colts. That's pretty damn ridiculous. I got to tell you the truth. Flush this loss. I'm ready for IU football. And we get Saturday off next week again because the bucket game's on Friday night, which is nice. Turnovers. Chiefs turned it over twice, and the Colts did not turn it over at all. You go on the road and you win the turnover battle, it ain't easy to lose. Sacks, the Colts had 4. Half of one for Adebore, half of one for Giacche, 1 for Gallimore, half for Pay, half for Grove, and 1 for Latu. Tackles for loss, Pratt with 2. I thought Pratt played out of his mind. I thought Pratt was great today. 20 tackles, 15 solo. Zaire with 14 tackles, 7 solo, 2 for loss by Pratt, 1 by Zaire. Zaire is a fine linebacker if he doesn't have to cover anybody. They did a great job holding down Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce with 4 catches, 43 yards. Tyler Warren, 5 catches, 45 yards. Doolin led the Colts in receiving yards with 48 on 1 catch. Pittman, 5 catches, 27. Alec, 1 catch, 26. Josh Downs, 2 on 6 targets for 10 yards. That is not going to get it done. That's not a good day for Josh Downs. Just not a good day. You got to get better. So this is what they're going to do. They're going to work to get better. They're going to do that this week. And they're going to go into Lucas Oil Stadium on Sunday and play the Houston Texans, and we'll see what happens. Downs the new Mitchell? I don't think so, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what kind of got in Josh Downs' head. I don't know what that is, but he looked like he's not getting the ball enough for him to be interested every single snap. That's me guessing at it. That's not necessarily like an indictment of Downs. Taylor couldn't get any push from the O-line all day. You can't blame the line. If they're throwing 8 in the box, the line's 5 guys. You got 5 trying to block 8, and you got a tight end a part of that too. But that's not easy. The scoreboard would disagree with your analysis of the Colts defense. They did good, but they weren't great. Kansas City defense shut out the Colts in the second half for the most part, and they did. You know, Colts wound up with 2 field goals in the third quarter, but the defense, like, you got to get off the field. You got to figure this out. You can't allow them to control the ball for better than 40 minutes. Get off the field. They did force 2 turnovers, and that's good. I think the Colts just got called for another face mask and roughing penalty. That and that's really the indictment of the defense goes toward that. Like the 2 roughings and the face mask, you can't have it. Sure they do. Great teams sweep the bad teams and go 500 against the top teams. And that could be exactly what the Colts wind up doing. Right? And right now, you would say that they split the overtime games and they split against the Broncos and the Rams. That's not bad. Like this, is this an elite team? I don't think it's elite, but they can hang as long as they find a way to play at home. So this thing really comes down to the 4 games against the Jags and the Texans. You win those 4 games, you're 12-5, and you got a shot at you split the other 2 at Seattle and at home against the 49ers. So you take 3 of 4 against the AFC South teams, you split the others, that's 5 more wins, and you wind up with 13. Wait, that can't be right. Wait, you get 3 and 1, that's 4. All right, 4 more wins. So you go 12-5. I'll take 12-5. Given what we thought was going to happen this season, I'll take the 12-5, go into the playoffs, host that first round game because at 12-5 they will win the AFC South, and then we see what happens. Let's see here. I want to check something. I know these are old scores. The Jaguars down 4 right now, midway through the second quarter to the Cardinals. That would be a nice thing. It would be nice if the Jaguars found a way to lose that game. That would excite me a great deal. We're going to have the good, the bad, and the ugly tomorrow. It'll be our last chance. Oh, you know what? We're giving away an autographed Colts jersey tomorrow afternoon inside Indiana Sports Now. And we will do that. You've got to be you have to be a subscriber to win. So make sure and subscribe. It's free to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and then bounce back. The phrase that pays, you need to put into a comment, bounce back. Everybody who puts bounce back and is a subscriber is going to get an entry to win an autographed Colts jersey. And I've got 4 autographed Colts jerseys. We will figure out with the magical prize die which Colts jersey we're giving away, and then we'll use the fabulous prize wheel to figure out to whom we're giving the prize. All right, can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. The good, the bad, and the ugly of this game, and there will be some ugly because it's a loss. Colts are 8-3. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Do not get pissed off. It is all going to be okay this coming week. All right, I'm going to eat like hell on Thanksgiving. Going to enjoy the company of IU fans in bars around the area or at Ross-Ade Stadium on Friday night and watch IU rout the Boilermakers. Saturday, we rest, and then Sunday, we're at Lucas Oil Stadium to watch the Colts beat the living snot out of the Houston Texans. All right, have a good night. Enjoy yourselves. Colts may prove to be a 9-8 team. Best secondary can't cover for the 7 to 8 seconds. Mahomes is a magician. You're going to be playing next weekend either against Davis Mills or C.J. Stroud. Not Patrick Mahomes. Officials got some good party favors. They were terrible on both sides. Terrible is some calls against Colts. Terrible some calls against the Chiefs. Winning in Kansas City, not easy. Colts should have got it done.